My most frequently asked question is, how do I put muscle on? I'm going to give you 5 key ways to gain muscle and keep it on. But before I do that, my name is Andrew Kolasko. And from here on out, I am your very own longevity coach for you men 50 plus. Every week, I'm here to give you the modalities and protocols for you 50 plus guys that really work, that will help increase your cardiovascular robustness, increase your lean muscle mass, increase your strength, and your overall sense of well-being. So if you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to and leave a like. Let me know what you thought of the material by leaving a comment. I want to hear from you and your feedback. Number 1, lift heavy and progress. You're going to have to lift heavy. That's all there is to it. You know, when you're in your 20s and 30s, you can say, oh, I just want to maintain, but you can't do that in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Reason being is because sarcopenia starts to set in. A couple things start to happen. Number 1 is your muscle fibers, they stop working. Some of them actually go offline. Number 2, those ones that don't go offline, that stay working, they shrink in size. So you got kind of a double hit there. That's why we're seeing a degradation in muscle mass as you get older. Hey, to be the bearer of bad news, but there's some startling statistics, okay? As you enter into your 7th decade, you lose 10 to 20% of your skeletal muscle mass. And in your 8th decade, you will lose another 20% on top of that. And after the age of 65, the majority of deaths that happen have something to do with loss of strength or muscle mass. So, you know, it's great to look jacked and muscular. That's great for the aesthetic right now, but you really want to think about your health span and your future years being quality years, and you're going to need muscles to do that. A meta-analysis showed that your muscle strength and your lean muscle mass and was inversely proportionate to your risk of mortality after age 50. The hazard ratio of being strong to being not strong is 3.2. That's a huge hazard ratio. For instance, smoking is only a 2, end-stage renal disease is only 3. So this is serious stuff we're talking about here. Now, we got to get our load. We've got to get the volume of work up in any given week to really get muscle gain. So you should have at least 20 sets per body part. If you're doing 10 to 15 now, get that up to 20. And if you really have the time and you really want to go for it, then get your amount of sets per body part up to 30. And then you're really going to be able to pack on some muscle and make a difference. In summary, the goal is to increase the overall muscle load and tension in any given week with relative effort to stimulate muscle growth. Number 2, prioritize protein. Aim for high quality protein sources with every meal that you have. You're not going to build muscle eating a bowl of cereal. If you got a rush one morning, you want to have a bit of cereal, make sure you get your protein shake in there as well. To build that muscle, you must fuel muscle repair and recovery. In your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, your efficiency in protein synthesis, it starts to slow down. Okay, you don't assimilate protein as well as you did when you were younger. You absolutely, at the minimum, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, and don't be afraid to go up to 1.3 grams per pound of body weight. Now that grams per pound of body weight, that's your target body weight, okay? And I am assuming that you're not obese with this recommendation. If you are overweight, then you need to prioritize your weight loss. But do not, with your training, neglect resistance training. You've got to keep it in there because you got to keep that muscle on. Sometimes with these diets and fad, diets of kind of things, you will lose lean muscle mass as well. And you can't afford to do that. The other thing it's going to help you with, when you have your muscles and they're strong and they're robust and you've got good lean muscle mass percentage, then that's going to help you with insulin sensitivity, okay? You don't want insulin resistance. What happens is that glycogen, it goes into the muscle, and that's where it disposes of it. You need to have good muscle mass to dispose properly of the glucose and keep your insulin sensitivity where it needs to be. Supplements that will also lend a hand in increasing muscle growth are creatine. Go for 15 to 20 grams per day. It's going to help you with your cognition too, as well as ashwagandha, about 600 milligrams per day, and TMG, that's trimethylglycine, about 3 grams per day. Now, why I chose those 3 is they all use different pathways, okay, to achieve the muscle gain and the muscle strength and the endurance and the overall performance that these are good in helping with. They use different pathways, so you're kind of getting a bit of a stacking. Now, your increase in muscle being on these supplements is going to be marginal, okay? It's going to be a small percentage, but every little bit helps. and they will not substitute for an improper diet, improper nutrition, and not having that protein come in. That is first and foremost the most important. The other good thing about these 3 supplements is they're relatively inexpensive. You can get your creatine and your ashwagandha pretty much anywhere. For your TMG, your trimethylglycine, you can go to particular.com. That's a longevity supplement company. That's all they do is longevity supplements. So your TMG or any of the other ones there, you can get 17% off. Use the link in the discount there below, Kolasko 17, and that will get you 17% off the TMG or any of the longevity supplements at particular.com. You are not going to find a bigger discount code than this one. Particular.com is giving it exclusively to me and my viewers and my subscribers. So check it out and be sure to use that. Number 3, focus on compound lifts. That's your squats, your deadlifts. You can do hex bar lifts as well, your presses and your hinge movements. These are going to activate the most muscles at once. Plus, these are going to engage your major muscle groups, okay? Those ones that have the most density. You can still work and isolate single body parts, but just make sure you're prioritizing those big muscle groups with your compound lifts before you go on to those. Number 4, recover like an athlete. Nike co-founder Bill Bowerman said, if you have a body, you're an athlete. Because the thing that makes great athletes great still applies to us. We just need to scale it to our circumstances. And poignantly and importantly, muscles aren't built in the gym. They're built during recovery time. We often forget that. Those muscles are built during recovery. We need proper sleep, proper nutrition, and getting your body into a parasympathetic state as opposed to a sympathetic state, also known as fight or flight. I've got a really good video here on how to avoid junk miles where we talk about getting your body into a parasympathetic state and out of the sympathetic state. That is how you're going to grow and recover. That calmness, that coming down from that fight or flight is what's going to help make your muscles grow. There's a ton of research that shows this. So meditation, getting yourself into a nice, relaxed state is going to give you the best results for muscle growth. Yes, modulating and regulating stress is going to help you overall with your sense of well-being, but getting those muscles built, because we're not able to do it. We're in a stressful state. It just doesn't work as well as efficiently. And you've got to look at the balance in your life. You do need that. If you're taking care of an elderly relative, if you're in a fight with your wife, if the boss is yelling at you, if one of your kids is wayward, all those kind of things are going to build up, okay? They're going to work against you in building muscle. So make sure you do your best to balance your lifestyle and get it as regulated, as modulated as you can, and then you're going to see better muscle gain and you're going to feel great and you feel better as a result as well. And I guess what I'm talking about there is getting our life in order. And I hate to oversimplify it, but there's other videos on YouTube where you can look on how to de-stress and get your body more regulated on an ongoing basis. Because what happens is your immune system is going to shut down, okay? It's going to not be able to put on that stress. You can't just keep packing it on in those different aspects of your life because we have what's called systemic fatigue, okay? And that affects our body's development overall based on all the external kind of things and those internal voices and those kind of things that are disrupting will take away from our gains. I know you're probably remembering back to point number 1 where I said increase the volume, the tension, the load per week, but we can't infinitely do that. Every 10 to 12 weeks, take a week off. Just do some light exercise, but we need to back off. Once again, that systemic fatigue overall is going to come and hit you in the ass. Now, there was an old wives' tale. I grew up on a farm, and they said, if you lift at a calf when it was born, baby calf, and you lifted it every day, then by the time it was a cow, you would be able to lift a cow. Well, we know that doesn't work. And it's the same thing with overtraining. That's not going to help you either. You have physical capabilities and physical incapabilities. And so you're going to be able to, push hard when you need to push hard, but to have that overall recovery and be able to get at it, you're going to have to take that week off about every 3 months. So be prepared to do that. We know that didn't work on the farm and it won't work in the gym. But I promise you, you can make muscle and strength gains. I'm stronger now with more muscle mass percentage-wise than I did at 56. I've been able to push hard and be able to get those gains. So all those things I said about sarcopenia, all those things I said about muscle degradation, all those things I said about protein and muscle synthesis not working as well, you can overcome that. You can get beyond that. You can accomplish great things, and just make sure that you are modulating and have a balanced life, and you'll get there. Number 5, stay consistent and patient. Progress takes time, but every single rep you do, every single meal you do right, every single habit that you build in is going to help you progress and move you forward. I believe Winston Churchill said it well, and I think it can apply to our athletic and our muscle gaining, and that is success is not final. Failure is not final. It is the courage to continue that counts. Show up for yourself and the results will follow. See my habits to get it done video to help get those habits ingrained and get them embedded. This will be very helpful, so be sure to check that. You do not decide your future. You decide your habits, and your habits will decide your future. So stay consistent with your habits. Put steadily one foot in front of the other and keep on plussing it forward. Please be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and leave a like. And I want to hear from you. Comment, okay? Put a comment in. Let me know, good, bad, or indifferent. I want to hear from you. And keep it locked here every week. I'm here noon Eastern Standard Time every single Friday, dropping a new video so that I can help you move that needle on your future years, give you the quality years, and put the best days ahead of you.